black people started getting education or started being invested in education, or rather segregation ended, universities started charging as a way to weed out the riffraff. So I'm just saying, don't get comfortable like this. That's all.
But at the same time, don't put it down your gullet. You know,
don't be mouthing it down.
Right.
Like a certain person. Exactly.
I'm not doing that.
The sound effect.
Man's about to give the mic the only guac.
The guacking.
You gotta leave that for Rudy.
Sir Guakenstein.
So yeah, don't be like Rudy.
Guackinator.
Oh my god.
3,000.
Sir Guac's a lot.
Sir Guackington.
Y'all probably gonna make Andre 2000 rethink his name.
So y'all really think this
Phantom of the Guacker?
United States of Guac.
Y'all really think that's gonna get posted?
Guacking Kingdom. Guacery.
So,
wait, Guasia?
You think this video is gonna be what gets us famous?
Nah.
According to my guaculations.
Today we're coming at you with something a little bit different.
Bro, what?
Hey,
we what? We doing what, bro?
We kept saying guac.
I'm gonna need you to say that in the mic one more time, bro. And say that crystal clear. Say it the same way you just said it, bro.
Alright, so today we're doing something a little bit different.
Zoinks!
Today we're doing TikTok conspiracies. And, okay, I lied. It's not necessarily conspiracies like some extreme made-up thing. These are people using circumstantial evidence to figure out, like, these government corruption. And I know you guys heard plenty of them, just racism, people lobbying in politics, all that stuff. So let's see a couple of examples. Again, TikTok is known for like spitting out a lot of stuff, but is it really factual? So what I'm going to ask you guys is to, one, tell me, do you think these things actually happen in real life? And two, like, what's your basis behind it? Why do you think it's real?
Okay.
Right.
We're gonna delve into conspiracy.
Roll the clip.
This one I'm gonna skip around. We're not gonna play the whole thing because we already got a copyright claim. We're not doing that shit again. So, but this is about a user Circus Fairy 33. Please check her out. You got her information so you can see what she's talking about.
Hey, yo, give us a follow back by
How white women have benefited the most from affirmative action is pretty easy to look up, and since this question is coming from a nameless, faceless profile, I'm not sure that it's being asked in good faith. If it's being asked in good faith, I'm about to give the answer. If it's being asked in bad faith, maybe in the future ask yourself whether I'm really the person that you want answering this kind of question.
Okay, so she's talking about affirmative action. I'm going to skip ahead to like 47 seconds. That's where she really gets to the meat and potatoes.
Oh, affirmative action, okay.
Action was so effective for white women that by 1980, white women were no longer underrepresented in higher education. And by 1995, there were 6 million women, the vast majority of whom were white, who held jobs that they would not have held were it not for affirmative action. And this is all great. These are wonderful outcomes, and it shows how affirmative action should work for its intended beneficiaries. However, black students are still underrepresented in higher education, and black men and women are still underrepresented in the workforce. And although there is still a gender pay gap, white women's average weekly earnings is more than that of black men or black women. And
I'm going to cut it there. So essentially, the whole summary of this is, she's saying, okay, yeah, affirmative action was made... Not maybe made for white women, but it's definitely heavily benefiting white women more than it is benefiting minorities.
Let me just put one thing out there. First of all, before we even say that, if you want to go into the category of race, it's not necessarily woman. I pretty much feel like, you know what? Before I get myself in a rabbit hole, let me stop myself right there. What I am going to do is just cut straight to my next point.
Okay.
Which is?
I don't feel like this was a conspiracy theory. I feel like this is just a general statement about like some statistics that, you know, is up for debate on whether you agree with statistics or not.
Right.
It doesn't fall into a conspiracy category for me. Like, not at all. This is not like outlandish, no far-fetched, like,
but
what's going on in Area 51.
Do you think this is actually happening?
Oh, I feel like it does.
I mean, right, look, here's my main point. I don't need to think it's actually happening. You see what's going on in society every day. There's clearly a demographic that can benefit more off of things than other demographics. I'm going to say it like that.
Maybe.
But
I would still maybe not say conspiracy, but
right.
consider that corruption. Because again, affirmative action were to benefit women and then minorities. If
Yeah,
it's only
but-
benefiting one part
Right.
of what it said it's gonna do. If you ask me, it was designed specifically for that one part.
No, I
and
get
it just,
what you're saying there,
That's what
but-
I'm saying. To me, it's
no,
corruption.
I got you.
And it
I mean,
should be.
yeah,
But
I-
that's
I-
not
I see
but that's not
what
what
you're
we're looking for.
Today we're doing TikTok conspiracies, and okay, I lied. It's not necessarily conspiracies like some extreme made-up thing. These are people using circumstantial evidence to figure out like these government corruption.
You're looking for conspiracy.
Well-
So we'll call it corruption. We'll put it in that category.
Well, it's
Right.
kind of
We'll
It
put it there.
coincides with it because in essence, it is a conspiracy in terms of the ideology of what it is.
Right, but it's not. But it's not enough of a conspiracy for me to like question. Like, do I have to go scientifically fact check this or to the not to that
Yeah,
degree for
it's
me?
just-
Well, I
that's
think you're
just-
going to like the extreme, like lunatic
Right,
definition of
right.
conspiracy.
Yeah, that's what
We're just
well,
like simply. Do
yeah.
you think this is something people would do? This is corrupt people are engaging in
Yes.
currently.
Right,
Yes.
because that in essence,
So-
a conspiracy can be contrived actions against people. In essence, it could be to a
You
lesser
see-
extent, or Area 51.
So we can check statistics, basically.
Well, no, I'm just saying. Do you, from your personal experience, let me know. Do you think this is something that would actually happen?
From my personal experience,
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
So
Jake
she
wanted
brought
to-
up the whole gender like pay gap, which that's been something that's been debunked a bunch of times, especially in recent times.
I feel like it still happens.
It's not as big.
Depending
of
on
a
what
thing.
job it
we
is.
have more statistics proving otherwise. It's been
Which is why I pointed out earlier. Check statistics.
There's been a huge. Their complaint was a huge imbalance that women aren't getting paid as much as men, but it's literally been debunked multiple times.
Yeah.
And one of the big arguments about it was women are not working the same jobs as men, but they're complaining about not getting paid the same. Like, you're not working that same job.
Right.
It's like Jordan Peterson had that case where it's like, okay, no women is signing up to be a bricklayer. Are you going to complain about uneven pay in bricklaying?
Right.
Because men are more likely going to take on that job because it's a very physical task, and women are not as geared to go for that. Very few might take it on, but you really think the majority is going to take on a very physical job? No,
They would probably take it on, but not
a very minor
for
amount.
no.
Minuscule.
I'm saying
Yeah.
they would probably take it on, but not for like working. They'll probably like if they have their own house,
They ain't
they
gonna
would
do that.
do it. I'm like, yeah.
They do.
This isn't
I'm saying
really proof.
for-
They're not.
Yes,
They're not
exactly.
doing that.
Nah.
Hey.
They're just.
So once she brought that up, I was like,
Yeah.
But definitely I can see that it could have been more biased to one group years ago, but things is a lot fairer now. Could it still be going on? Possibly, but I don't think to as big of an extent as the 90s per se.
Right.
90s was crazy.
Let's move on to the next one.
I said the 80s.
Well, the pre-O's was pretty
All
wild.
right, so this one is interesting. This is by Beyonceforpresidente. Again, check out his TikTok. We're not gonna play the whole video because again, we're not getting any more trouble. We only got 67 subscribers. We got like 3 claims already. That's crazy. Anyways,
We doing something right.
so this guy is simply talking about the fact that as soon as black people started getting education or started being invested in education, or rather segregation ended, universities started charging as a way to weed out the riffraff. So I'm gonna play it so you guys can see.
Universities in the United States were free until segregation ended. And it will shock no one to learn that a major reason was Ronald Reagan. Free college was the norm all over America until the 1960s. Both four-year colleges and community colleges were free. White students were favored for free university until protests erupted all across the United States because of the Civil Rights Movement. In 1966, Ronald Reagan was elected governor of California. He proposed that the University of California should start charging tuition. In his words, this was to get rid of undesirables. This began a nationwide effort to maintain.
And I'm gonna leave that there. His whole goal was to get rid of undesirables.
Yeah.
So now, do you think? Well, obviously it's a quote. He obviously said so. It has to be real, right?
Desirables. And then the thing is, specifically, there is the issue with minorities at a point, and I'm trying to remember Reagan's. Dang, what time period was he in?
He was a governor.
60s, before he became president.
You still have a lot of influence as
Yeah, he does. And then he, especially in Cali, I feel like there is some validity to it. Solely because Reagan's a lot of things he did under policy definitely it disadvantaged minorities. A big deal.
Right.
And then Nixon played a role into it afterwards with the Vietnam War and also the war on drugs. That was pretty ridiculous.
So you definitely feel like this is something that definitely happened as soon as segregation ended. There was we need a way
dang.
to subdue people.
Thinking
subdue
about it,
minorities from getting
because it would
education.
really a lot of minorities had an advantage to actually get up.
So yeah, let me get the rest of your opinion. So Jaquan definitely thinks
like,
that's something that
because it really just thinking about it in terms of the time period. Yeah, you're able to hold off a group from in essence finally catching up or being on even footing. You know, and that stigma was there for a while. It took a while to really, post segregation to really start easing that racial divide that was created by the government. Dang.
See, my whole thing is, right, because for a good long time, I never believed people were capable of such evil. I would hear all these things. The one big conspiracy people like to talk about was 9/11. Like, no way that would throw a plane into a whole building just to cover up some documents that would make people look bad, right?
Insane.
But now, the older I grow up, the more I'm realizing, you know what? A billionaire would kill a couple hundred people to stay a billionaire. I definitely feel like that's true.
And it's just...
They would definitely poison their products to save a buck and keep that money coming to them.
Because it's like there's an extreme level of selfishness that plays a role into it, especially based on their behaviors. They can act like philanthropists, but in essence, it's just to get by. It's to keep a cleaner image. That is the thing. Right, it's like, well, you think Elon is the cleaning? Hey,
no, but he's gonna.
He got dirty laundry.
He's gonna put on a nice little suit to look good for everybody. Absolutely.
In a way, I can see what they were trying to do, but at the end of the day, it still hindered. Like, for instance, you would get someone who's very intellectual, but they come from a family that doesn't have a lot of money.
Yep, and thus they'd never be able to get education.
Yeah. So, but like, you would get someone who does have, well, who's not really intellectual, but yet you put them in a very high performing school, and then it brings down the status of the school. Because I can see them trying to get rid of them, but like, you gotta give people kind of a fair chance with that one.
You remember that argument we had with a teacher in high school where he was talking about how he had went to Brooklyn College within this time frame, right? And then all of the students argued, you got to go for free. We did it. We're all like, you could see what backgrounds we're from. We don't have any money.
Yeah.
So our odds of getting in, we have the intelligence. You can see that, but we don't have the money. And then by the time we amass the money, they ain't even going to want us at that point.
Yeah, they're going to be like, yo, you're too old.
Or it's like, well, we're going to keep hiring all the younger guys who already had the money. And
then you can pay them less.
And at that point in time, obviously more of the white demographic was more established during that time period. So, of course, even if they had to pay, they was already good. Their parents had the money for it. So they were going to get in regardless. And most of these people had connections anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised about a bunch of people getting it for free.
So this didn't just happen in the 60s. This happened until this day. Of course, we already know. I'm just picking everybody.
There was that case, because I know you might have seen it. It was that case about I don't know if you remember, but she was the actress who played in Full House, and she was the love interest of I think his name was Joey on the show. But she literally like got her daughter in one of those prestigious, like I think Ivy League schools. I forgot the name, and then her daughter was trash. She was literally paying the money so she could get by in terms of passing, which is obviously illegal, and got exposed for doing that because she basically was paying for her daughter to get a degree so she got security.
Job security, yeah.
But guess what? She had that most people don't. The capital. That's it.
She had the money to do it.
Literally.
Another good example, Carlton from the Fresh Prince. He went to Princeton, right?
Yeah, but what advantages did he get?
Look at because the money, bro. We just talked about it. He literally just gave the example of the students.
But they didn't pay to like cheat on a test because that's what happened in Disney.
No, not that example. What he was talking about with the school. How the teacher bragged about being able to get into the college, but the students he was talking to. I'm giving an example about how Carlton's one of the rare occasions because his dad had money to put him there. He was intelligent and he was able to get there. That's what I'm talking about.
I see what you're saying.
I'm going back to that point.
Yep. But I mean, if his dad didn't have the money,
it would have been the same category. You got all that brains, but know how to.
Yeah, scholarships
he would have to work very hard for the scholarship.
Yeah, the scholarships wasn't as available as a thing. Probably not in this time period either. It became more of a thing later on, so people could actually find a way to get in.
Here's why I don't like that example because he also had a daughter who wasn't as intelligent, and she wasn't going to Princeton.
Nah.
So I don't think his money did all the
No. Stop right there because now you're getting into a whole different category. The daughter was not worried about that or did not care about that. Carlton wanted that.
But his intelligence carried him, not the money, is what I'm trying to say. That's
Okay. You're not getting my point. They had a setup that allowed them to get there. Do you know how many people that Jaquan said, as an example, in that class whose intelligence could carry them so far, but they didn't have the means to get there? That is the whole point.
I agree. That's an advantage.
That is literally the whole point that we just made.
But for the sake of this conversation and the whole Fresh Prince thing, what Fresh Prince was trying to show was Carlton was intelligent, and people shouldn't see him shouldn't expect a lack of intelligence because of the way he looked. That came up a lot in the show.
Yeah. Because obviously he's being prejudged because of the demographic.
Right, but that's not the topic that I'm talking about. I'm narrowing it down to the specifics of his situation and circumstance of his family already being wealthy and already being affordable and being able to put him in the program, which goes back to the point of Jaquan saying that certain students wasn't able to get somewhere because they couldn't afford to get there. I'm bringing up Carlton because he is a student who did have a wealthy background that allowed him to go there. I'm not talking about Carlton's character within itself. I'm not talking about how the show viewed him. That is literally another podcast episode on its own.
The next one we have is Workforreal. And what he's talking about here is the whole education system was meant to make people slaves. So let's just see what he's talking about.
Wait, what?
You'll see.
And you know how much schooling kids had back then? 2 to 4 hours a week. But then industrialization happened, and we had this sudden demand for loyal, committed workers. And if you know your American history, this is when you start hearing about people like the Rockefellers. John D. Rockefeller was a big oil tycoon, and when he needed a reliable workforce, he started doing some research and discovered that it takes 12 years to indoctrinate a populace.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Y'all know what to do. Go check out his TikTok and check out the video for yourself. So yeah, again, same question. Do you think this is true? The whole education system was built to enslave people and make them just...
So you see how he said
slaves.
Kids were in school for 2 to 4 hours a week?
Yeah.
That's what he's saying originally?
Which I know it has to be a thing because they have to go back home and help out with either, I guess, farming or just
land animals or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So they didn't have time to stay
before. This is before the industrial I'm talking about.
Okay.
So yeah, back then they didn't really have time to stay in school for a whole 8 hours.
Yeah, I don't know much about that. Yeah, honestly, I don't know much about how, the schooling system was run back then. That's interesting.
But now the industrial area came and now you wanted people in factories working in factories. So.
There's factories, there's more jobs. Obviously they needed a workforce, and there's more kids than any other human being on the planet. You know what I mean? Kids are the biggest amount of dang. And then by what age would they catch them? Like when they're becoming a teen? Like 12 to 13?
Well, I guess so, because back then they didn't really have child labor laws. But simply what they're saying is first 12 years of life you're in school, you're learning how to be a slave. Do you think this is true, or do you just think, okay, now that we're in the industrial area, people have more time, so they're able to spend more time in school? What do you think?
So like kids were slaves, or at least, you know how I felt about the education system. I was always saying the way that it is designed is in a goofy way that doesn't promote much change, especially the public system. It's just very basic, very remedial, and a lot of these kids are very dissatisfied because they don't feel like they're progressing anywhere. Especially with the access to the internet, we're able to actually see so much stuff. And you see how quickly these kids can learn actual material that they should learn instead of being stuck in the fodder material that they get.
Jaquan, you remember how it was when we were in high school? They never, all the teachers would ever say is, oh yeah, go to college. They would never bring up something like a trade school. Oh shoot, what's the name of the school for cooking? Culinary.
Oh, culinary.
Yeah, they would never bring up.
They never bring up these skill-oriented schools.
Yeah,
They want the McDonald's workers.
It's probably wrong for me to speak from this side as in I'm someone who I've not always been the smartest person in terms of academics, but I've been good with trade.
Right.
So it's if you see someone, in my opinion, if you see someone who's not full on academic, but you see them good with the trade, push them towards that. Don't just push college.
Yeah, in essence, putting somebody towards something to get a skill. Because obviously
they're doing that now. There's Montessori schools that focus on that specific thing.
Yeah, but it wasn't for us. They didn't really give a dang. They just had us as fodder, honestly. If we were just stuck at McDonald's forever, they wouldn't have cared.
So better question for you guys. Do you feel like going through the school system, you're a slave? Have you ever felt like
just thinking about the time, the structure, and just unless you're in programs or because we were more on the lower end with it in terms of how if you weren't a part of the gifted program, you basically were just treated like an afterthought. Honestly, you're just a number.
You're just there.
That's what it felt like, especially for my experience. That's what.
Alright, so this is the interesting one. You know me, I like tech. So apparently tech is racist. And you guys about to find out why.
What do you mean tech?
You want to find out?
I almost slipped out of
So
the
there's
plane.
another video going around of an automated soap dispenser not working for someone with dark skin. I am a technology ethics professor, and I want to explain to you why this happens. And I mean both why in a technical sense and why in a systemic racism sense. Things like automated soap dispensers typically use infrared technology, which sends out light that is then reflected back to the sensor. If the reflective object underneath absorbs the light instead of sending it back, then the sensor doesn't trigger. So that's the technical explanation. And we've also known that this is a problem for a very long time. I've been using this as an example in my classes for at least 10 years. Now, whether we're talking about a soap dispenser or far more complex technologies like facial recognition, or even medically consequential technologies like pulse oximeters. You might wonder, how do we end up with technology that works so much better for white people? So one possibility is that during the design process, something like a soap dispenser or a pulse oximeter was only tested on white people.
And I'm going to leave it there.
I can see.
Her name is ProfessorCasey. Again, her topic is racist technology.
And what did she say her job title was?
I am a technology ethics professor, and I want to explain to you.
There you
All
go.
right.
Technology ethics professor, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess the job is to report on stuff like this. So again, same question.
Making sure that it's, the technology is there to work for all groups.
So, in my personal opinion, it's kind of self-explanatory. It's not like she didn't have any evidence to back up what she was saying. Like, there is an example, and she did break down the structure, how it works. So.
Yeah, the infrared, the infrared light
absorbing the
was
light, exactly.
Yeah,
If it absorbs
because
the light,
there's
it
the
will
aspect
trigger.
of melanated skin
Absorbing light, exactly.
See, I'm
While
glad you said
non-melanated
that.
doesn't.
Because the thing she said at the end, there wasn't really any proof of that. She said it's possible. She said one possible solution is that they just simply leave out darker skinned people in testing. So again, my question is, do you believe they really do that?
Like, well, when you think about the majority of people,
Go
or
ahead.
obviously when it comes to like the white demographic being like there's a lot of white people, obviously they'd probably be the biggest sample size in terms of who they utilize.
But not trying to
Hold
cut
on.
you off. All right.
I want to hear the rest of what he's saying, though.
Yeah, pretty much in terms of that, of course they're going to test it on all groups, but I can definitely see that the majority most likely would have been a white demographic, just in terms of testing. But, I mean, it's got to work for everybody, so that's why I'm just like,
And then another thing, too, that I wanted to add on, if you
think
look
I'm
at the
right.
science of how that goes, right? You have to realize that when you're designing it, and you have to see the flaw. If you know that it's going to work, just because we're human beings and not physical objects, that don't mean science is going to stop being science. If something is programmed to absorb something at a higher level and a rate when it comes to light than other things, you would know that will probably cause a problem potentially when it comes to you.
I agree. I think it is common sense
Like, that's
for people to just be
common sense,
like,
bro.
come on now, this is an issue that can easily be fixed.
Yeah,
but she's
exactly.
saying they simply don't want to put effort into doing so.
I wonder why.
But you see, what I was trying to say is, all right, yes, they do the whole testing thing, but how many of the darker demographic will want to be tested on that?
there's that too.
What?
I'm like,
I'm
but
like,
they'll make
yes,
sure
no,
that
like,
they'll-
I don't want to get tested on
Let me
that.
answer your question.
yeah,
Let
they'll
me
make
answer your
sure that
question,
they
bro.
test everyone because it's something that's
Let me
designed for
personally answer.
everyone.
Let me personally answer your question, bro. If I'm somewhere and I need to wash my hands and I'm about to eat and I'm not at my house, and there's no button to push for whatever soap or sanitizer I need, bro, I'm gonna want my hands clean, bro. Like, it's not even that. Like, why wouldn't you not want it at that point?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. So I know they'll test everybody because of course they got to make sure that it
Like,
works
just
for
being
anyone
realistic.
who shows up realistically. And in America, we have every race here.
Right? You want to walk out the
Everybody's
bathroom?
here.
You want to walk out a public bathroom without washing your hands, bro?
Yeah. It's just, to me, it's just illogical to not test all groups. But I know if they had to get a sample size, the white demographic would probably be the highest naturally because most of the time they tend to be the highest when they do test things.
So
That's why I was saying. Like,
There's
the
gonna
darker
be
demographic
they're
is
gonna
probably
find
the-
them.
no, but you literally said they don't want to get tested. That's why I'm over here like,
Yeah, nah.
Okay, I probably said it wrong.
Because
I
that's-
meant
okay.
it to be like they probably don't want to be in that testing.
But why? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what we're
like-
trying
That,
to
that's
get.
probably their own opinion of like. Them
Yeah,
saying,
but
"No, I'm
that's
not."
it's too minuscule of a thing.
You tell somebody, yo, I'll give you $50 to stand and get hit by the censor. They're gonna be like, "Word, bet that's it."
That's what I'm saying.
Hold on. Now I gotta stop you right there. Why would you worry it? Why would you word it like that?
What?
Stand there, get hit, but no.
Hit by a censor, really?
Like, bro,
You get his point.
I get the point,
get
but if
his
you word it like that, then yeah, you're gonna back up what you're trying to talk against, bro.
People get it. It's not.
No. I see what you're saying, but you got to think about it too. It technically is.
I mean,
They,
people
for something
get
like
it.
this, they could give a better explanation.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, we're just testing this latest hand soap dispenser.
There you go. Say what it's for.
I mean, no, it's not that deep. He was going
Anyway,
to get it.
Yo,
yeah,
stand right here. What if the laser burn me? Stand right here and get hit by a laser.
since you want to nitpick, why don't you bet?
That is
Why don't
nitpicking.
you- My whole thing is, I do know companies would skip steps to
Yeah.
get products out there, and they go by the whole 20/80 rule. As long as we get majority
Yeah,
of
we're
the
not
consumers
right.
for this product to work, we're good. Whatever complaints we get, we'll just handle
And when
it
you
on
think
the back
about
end.
the portions of people, it's like I said, the white demographic is
Exactly.
higher. Thus, they're the easier ones to get and test it on it. Like, I mean, if it worked for them, you know, they probably got a couple of people of a darker skin tone, but probably not as many. Obviously,
Right.
they didn't. It's like you didn't do your due diligence when you tested out a product on something.
Y'all, it's been Fold. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See y'all.